think that was the last day I saw him actually until I was 8 months pregnant. Yeah. So guys, would you believe that I've been through the most in my life and I came out of it? So now I'm no longer a single mother, but I used to be a single mother for 4 years. But let me tell you how I became a single mother. So there was a time when I used to live in South Africa. This was in 2024. Yes, 2024. So I happened to meet a guy as I was walking. Actually, I used to do home visits. I was already a beautician at that time. I used to do home visits, so I'd go to people's houses, do the manicures, pedicures, and like any beauty treatment. So sorry. So I used to go there and do people's house the treatments at their houses. So one day I happened to go to Sandton, right, to do one of my clients, and this client was the most difficult one, and on that day I happened to finish very late. So what happened was there was no more transportation to go back home, so to go back to where I lived at that time. I used to live in Cresta. So what happened was as I was walking down the street looking for transportation, I actually could not find any transport. So then a car just happened to stop by, and this man was like, "Oh hey, where are you going?" Then I said, "No, I'm going home. I just finished a client and it's late now. I'm so worried. I don't have any transportation." But then he seemed like a very nice guy, and he was like, "Oh, don't you want me to take you home? But then before I take you home, I'm gonna have to pass by my house and drop some meat," because he said his brothers needed to cook first, cook while he was taking you to Cresta. So anyway, the way he sounded, I just trusted, easily, and then I went into the car, and then he drove, and then he passed by his place in Rivonia. So where we stopped by in Rivonia, when he stopped by the gate, he called his brothers. Well, at that time he told me those were his brothers, so he called a few guys to come out and receive the groceries that he had. So those guys came out and they received the groceries that he had, and then he's like, "Okay, fine." He seemed like a very, very nice guy, very genuine guy. So then he said to me, "Okay, let's go, I will take you home." And I trusted, and then he took me home. And then I was like, "Oh, I like this guy, the way he's so gentle, the way he's so kind," and I just trusted him so easily. And sorry. So what happened was, he drove me to Cresta. So when we arrived in Cresta, I remember my mom was there visiting me at that time. She said to me, "Lillian, who is that person who dropped you by the gate?" And I said, "Oh, I just a random guy." And then she said to me, "I hope you did not give him your numbers." And I said, "What?" And then I just, as a child, you always say, "Oh, you know what?" But at that time I was not a child anymore, but I just said, you know what? Why is my mom saying that to me? I felt like she didn't want me to be with someone or something like that. Anyway, so because I had already given him the numbers, because I trusted him and I liked him from the word go. And yeah, so then he dropped me, he left, and then as time went on, we started communicating. We became very close, and then we ended up, getting into a relationship. So when we got into a relationship, we dated, and he was a very nice guy to me, even though he was very nice to me the whole time, and I wouldn't say there's anything wrong that he did to me during the time when we were together. So so what happened was, he actually the time came that I actually fell pregnant, right? So when I fell pregnant, guys, actually, let's go back. Let's go back before that. Before I fell pregnant for him, he used to tell me how much he wanted to marry me, how much his mom was excited about me, because his mom spoke a different language. And he told me, "Oh, you know what, my mom, she's excited she can't wait to meet you and his family." So I used to visit him all the time. I used to go to his house in Livonia all the time. So we were very, very close. So I remember even at the time when I was doing my driver's license, he was the guy that was, there to help me with everything, not financially, but like showing me this how you do it, this and that. So I truly trusted, and I thought, you know what, I've met the man of my dreams, and if he said he would do something, he used to do it. So there was no way I was going to think that this man was actually alive. So anyway, so we continued dating, and then one day, the time when I used to visit him a lot, he used to answer calls from his home, his village, right? This man was from Uganda, by the way. So he would answer calls from Uganda and speak in his language to his family. So at that time, I did not know that he was talking to his wife. For me, he told me that he was talking to his family, his sister, his mom, his cousins, all of those people. And because I couldn't understand the language, he just said, oh, they said I should pass the message to you. So I was always there every time, he called his wife, he did everything, and I didn't know that this man was married. So anyway, so the relationship continued. A few months down the line, I felt pregnant, right? I felt pregnant. So when I felt pregnant, I remember, I told my sister, I'm like, I think there's something going on with me, but I'm not sure what it is, because it was like very strange the way I felt. So anyway, then my sister said to me, you know what, my sister just got excited. It's like, oh, you're gonna be a mom, and she was so excited, and I was like, oh my god, why is she so excited? I mean, I'm not yet married, so I didn't want to have a child before marriage. So anyway, so my sister was very, very excited, but anyway, she encouraged me to go and do the test to see the pregnancy test to see if I was truly pregnant. So before telling him, so I went ahead and did the pregnancy test, and the test came positive. So I went to Netcare, close to Brixton, I think. Yes, Brixton in South Africa. So I went there, and then they told me, oh, you're pregnant. But then, you know what, at that time, when I went there, it was a private hospital. I had no money, and they said to me, oh, you want to know if you're pregnant or not? And I said yes. Then they're okay, fine, come on in, let's help you. So those ladies, the ladies were so nice, and they took me in, they tested me for free, and then they showed me the baby, like the what do you call this, the like something growing inside my stomach. And then I was excited. I left the hospital, everybody was excited for me. Then I told my sister I was pregnant, we were all excited, and then they told me, oh, you might be having a girl. So when I told myself that, oh, they said I might be having a girl, so she found a name already. She said, oh, we're gonna name her Cassie. I said, okay, whatever. So we called her Cassie until she was born. But anyway, so the time came that I needed to tell my boyfriend at that time that I was pregnant. So I remember he came to pick me up, and I told him that, oh, you know what, I'm craving for ribs. And he said to me, oh, you know what, I don't eat ribs, and I don't go into a restaurant that sells ribs, because he was Muslim, right? So I thought he followed his religion. I didn't really know much about the Muslim religion at that time, so I just trusted that he was an amazing guy because of how he treated me. Anyway, so I told him that I was craving for the ribs. So I remember he took me to Cresta Mall. When we arrived at Cresta Mall, he told me, oh no, you go in by yourself and then I can stay back. So he stayed in the car. Then he took me to the restaurant, made sure that I was inside, and I ordered my food. Then he left and sat in his car. So after eating, we then left, and then that was the day that I broke the news to him that I was pregnant. And I remember the day when I told him, he told me, oh, I was not ready for the baby. And then I said, oh, if you're not ready, it's okay, I can handle it, since I was working, and I think I was financially stable at that time. So I told him, I said, I can handle it, and because my sister is excited, so I'm happy about this whole idea. Anyway, guys, so this guy, he said, okay, he was not ready to be a dad. So then, we separated on that day. The next morning, he told me, oh, I'm going to see you later in the evening. So later on in the evening, he came to see me, and he told me, oh, you know what, I was talking to my mom. He says he was talking to his mom over the phone, and his mom told him that I need to take some kind of medication so that we can strengthen the baby, since since I'm carrying their child, and then he's going to process everything. Now he's decided to marry me, and I said, oh, then I was very thrilled. But then what was weird, I was like, why do I need to take something? So I said to him, you know what, I will have to talk to some of my family members before I commit to this. So the best thing, I said, you know what, I will not take that medication for now, but I will make sure that I communicate with you tomorrow once I have spoken to my family. Sorry guys, I folded my feet and now it feels like there's no blood circulation. Let me fix myself for a second. So anyway, so yeah, I'm ready now. So anyway, he told me, he's like, okay, fine. So anyway, I told my family, but no, I remember, I think I told my sister or some of my friends, and actually my friends used to call him the night rider because he used to come every night. So I was wondering, where is this man coming from? Like, it's so weird. Anyway, long story. But anyway, so the following day he comes back to check on me. He says to me, oh, I spoke to my parents again. They're insisting that you need to take the medication before the baby grows big, because it will help you to make sure that like the baby becomes strong. And I said to him, no, I'm not going to take anything, because in my culture we don't do that, so I don't understand it. So anyway, that's how it ended. And then what happened after that? Okay, I remember the fourth day, was it the fourth day or so, he came to see me. And no, actually he came to pick me up, and then we went to his house, right? So we went to his house. I think that was the last day I went to his house. So I went to his house. When I went to his house, I remember I had a dream. You know how you sleep with your man on the bed? I had a dream of it's like I had pooped myself. So I was like, why am I dreaming of myself? And then when I woke up in the morning, I told him, I said, you know what, I had a dream that I had pooped on myself. And then he laughed about it. So in my culture, it meant that our relationship was going to be over, right? So I knew it already. So I prepared myself mentally. But anyway, so what happened was, I think that was the last day that I saw him. No, actually not. So anyway, he then, I think that was the last day I saw him, actually, until I was 8 months pregnant. Yes, until I was 8 months pregnant. So because first of all, I did not take that medication that he had suggested, because he wanted me to abort the baby. That's what I thought. And then secondly, because at some point he had asked me if I could be his second wife, in a joking manner. So I thought maybe he was joking, because at first he had told me he was not married. So I did not understand like what kind of man he was, but most of the times he was always very silent. So there was a lot of silence, he wasn't communicating anything with me, nothing. But he would just communicate, just a few. He was a man of few words, just a little bit, and then he'd say one thing and then that's it. So anyway, so what happened was, I went back to my home the following morning, and then I decided, you know what, let me text him. Like hours later, I texted him, and his phone wasn't going through anymore. Like, why is his phone not going through? So what this man did actually was, he relocated from where he was living, because he was running away from me. He relocated from that house, or they were hiding him. I have no idea. But the reason why I'm saying he relocated is because I went there to look for him, but I could not find him. They told me, oh, he doesn't live there anymore. So anyway, so he disappeared on me. He cut off my number everywhere. He was nowhere to be found on social media, everywhere. The story, guys, giving me a headache now. I'm telling you, I'm getting a headache. I need to drink some water. I don't know where I put my bottle of water, but I think I had it somewhere here. Oh yes, I got it here. So the reason why I'm sharing this story with you is because I know that there are so many people out here who easily trust people that they meet, and you just met someone today and you easily trust. You end up falling into wrong things, Anyway, this man disappeared on me. But anyway, sorry guys, I'm so sorry. This man disappeared on me. He was nowhere to be found completely. I looked for him everywhere I could. But now the funny thing is, on Facebook, the name that I knew and the last name, I looked for him using those names and I could not find that. I found something totally different. I found like 5 Facebook accounts under him with it, with like, yeah, his first and the last name, but like different, I don't know, like it was just weird. But those Facebook Facebook accounts, they had his picture, you know, and a picture of a woman sitting next to him with kids. So I wasn't sure if this was the wife or what had happened. I had no idea. So anyway, that's how I found out actually that he was married, because I saw on Facebook the picture of himself and the woman and the children. So I just knew that this man is married. Then I accepted that I was going to be a single mom. But I was so disappointed in myself because I easily trusted a total stranger, someone that I just met. And I felt like a lot of people, a lot of girls that actually didn't get love from their fathers when they were young, they always go out there looking for love in wrong places, because you're trying to find that fatherly love and all of that, because you never had it, so you end up falling into wrong things. So I'm gonna fix my camera. I think something is up here. You end up falling into wrong things because you're lacking that fatherly love. So I really highly recommend that as fathers, please give your daughters some love so that they don't fall into situations like mine, because I had never experienced such comfort and everything, and he made me feel at peace, because you would never hear him scream at me. He was always very calm, very chilled, you know, like the most understanding man I thought I had. And he used to do stuff for me, and I really trusted him so much. So I didn't believe that he was going to leave me and disappear on me, because I was actually excited that, oh my god, we are pregnant, we're going to have a child, and I'm going to get married. But then it turned out to be something else. Anyway, so this man, he disappeared when I was 3 months pregnant. That is the story. So when he disappeared, I carried on, and I was already a single mom through pregnancy until I gave birth, until my daughter was 4 years old. When she was 4 years old, that's when I met my husband now. But anyway, before then, so I went through a lot just being a single mom, and it was the hardest thing I've ever experienced in my life. So he disappeared on me, and then he appeared one time when I was 8 months pregnant, because I think he had seen somewhere that we were planning a baby shower, because I had a lot of clients, right? So they planned a baby shower for me, and a lot of friends, they in Cresta, thank God. So they planned the baby shower. I was looking good, and I had the greatest baby shower. A lot of gifts came, and my sister assisted as well, but she was in Scotland, but she financially assisted. And then I gave birth to my daughter, and who is now 11 years old. So she is the sweetest, she's very caring. She always tells me how much she loves me, and she has made me this woman that I am today. And I think that, it's not the end of the world becoming a single mom. So if a man disappears on you, just know that you have the strength, you can do it, you are capable. And I did it without knowing that I was able to do it. I don't even know how I did it. But luckily, when I was 8 months pregnant, my mom came from Zimbabwe, and then she came to assist me through the last few weeks. So I gave birth by myself, just with my mom there in the room. And then when the baby was born, I remember she looked exactly like her father, and I just hated her. The first time when I saw her, I hated her so much, because I was so disappointed in myself. And then my mom, I didn't want to touch her. You know how when the baby is born, they hand you the baby? For me, I just did that. Like, I just could not, and I just let my mom take the baby away from me. So she took the baby away from me, and she held her in her arms, and until today they do have a very strong bond because of that. And something that I can never take away from my mom and also my daughter, and they do have a strong bond. So afterwards, and then I went through a lot, some postnatal depression, of which, because I thought I was ready to be a mom, but when the baby was born, I went into shock, and then I had postnatal depression. But afterwards, I did so well, I was fine, and then I decided to leave my daughter and go and study, take myself back to school, and then, yeah, but that's another story for another day. So that is how I became a single mother. The man disappeared on me. But anyway, unfortunately, he passed away when my daughter was 8 years old because, he passed away, and yeah. But we were in good communication when he passed away, because he came along when my daughter was 4 years old because he wanted to do the child, part of the child's life. And when he passed away, that's when I got a chance to speak to his wife and his children. Now I'm in contact with part of her family that lives in Uganda. So yeah, some people knew that there was a child somewhere, and I did not know, that the man was married in the beginning, because he had lied to me and told me that he was not married. So don't just easily trust a man when you meet a guy. Make sure that before you even fall in love with that guy, investigate the guy, try to understand the person, know his real family members, know where he lives, know everything about him, do whatever it takes to get to know the person before you commit yourself, because people can be very, very strange, because you meet someone, all of a sudden you're so committed to them, but the men are not like us. So always make sure that you look out for yourself. And I'm so happy that I'm sharing this story without crying now, because it shows the amount of healing that I have now. So I feel like I'm at peace with it, because when he passed away we were fine, and I didn't hate him anymore. I had moved on, and I was very successful. My daughter was okay, and she's healthy and strong. So she's such an amazing girl. So I'm very grateful that I kept her. I did not abort my child. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to make another video next time. We're going to talk about how I left my daughter when she was 6 months old to go and study in London to acquire a profession that was going to help me to start working on a cruise ship. So we are going to have that conversation after, because now I gotta go, and this is all I had for you today, guys. I hope you like, comment, and share, and don't forget to subscribe. If you watched this video until now, that means you like it. Please like it, comment, and your thoughts are valuable to me. I really appreciate. So all the moms out there, don't be scared that you're a single mom. You can do it. It's doable. It might be tough, but you're pushing it. You're good. You're doing so well, and your child is gonna be so proud of you. So yeah, to continue doing what you're doing as a single mom. So I just want to encourage all the moms out there that you're not alone. Yeah, now I am married, and I have my daughter, my first one. Then I have a stepdaughter who is 8, and then I have a little one who is 5, and then I have also my husband's nephew, who is now my son, who is 21. So I'm grateful for all these kids that God has blessed me with. So you are not alone. So keep doing what you're doing, okay? I love you guys. I'll see you on my next video when we talk about how I left the 6-month baby to go and study so that I can work on a cruise ship. I love you guys. Bye bye.